So ultimately, the customer who contacts us, they have an issue and they want the issue to be fixed. And they want the issue to be fixed in a quick manner, right? Whether that's a live chat or a phone call or a ticket, it doesn't really matter. End of the day, the ultimate goal is for the issue to be fixed. So our job is to be efficient, be structured, show confidence to the customers. We know what we do and solve the issue.
Hey, agency owners, welcome back to the A2 Hosting Show. Today, I've got a really special conversation for you. We're sitting down with Panos, our COO of World Host Group and A2 Hosting. Now, if you've ever wondered what it takes to build a truly world-class hosting experience, especially when it comes to care and support, trust and transparency, you're about to get a front row seat. Panos has been in the hosting and tech space for many years, leading global teams, helping businesses solve some of the toughest challenges in WordPress and web hosting. In this conversation, we dive into his personal journey, showcasing the humans at A2 Hosting and World Host Group, from gaming as a teenager to running an agency to now leading the largest part of our organization, customer care. He shares his philosophy on extreme ownership and support, why he believes trust is built through transparency, and even drops some big news about how A2 Hosting and World Host Group are stepping up in the WordPress community. So let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Panos. I wanted to ask, like, the first thing when we were talking, I was thinking, where in the world is Panos today? Because we have offices all over, and I'm like, I hear, okay, he's sending the email midstream on a flight.
So I pretty much go where the company wants me to go. I've spent, for World Host Group, I've spent a couple of years in Bulgaria, in Sofia, where the first office was. It was the original office where we started pretty much all the customer care operations. Then we quite quickly realized that doing night shifts in a single location is not ideal, both for people's mental health and also for logistics and a single point of failure, as they say. So we thought it's a good idea for us to open an office in Asia. For various funny reasons, we chose Bali, which is obviously a great location for us. We wanted to have a location that's easy for us to travel, a good vacation place for us, me and Seb, which is funny enough. So we chose Bali. 2021, we started ramping up the Bali office. Is also 2022 is when I officially moved into Indonesia in an effort to ramp up and build the office. I stayed for roughly 2 years in Indonesia, and as of 2 weeks ago, I am officially in London. So now I live in central London.
Well, that's what I thought I had heard, but I was like, with offices all over the world and traveling, and Seb did mention Bali office is pretty incredible. So it sounds like you and Seb need me there for a very important meeting soon this year.
Absolutely. And I know we something to discuss for later, but we are about to sponsor a bunch of WordCamps. One of them will be in the WordCamp Asia, which is coming up very, very soon in Manila. Cory, if you want to join the WordCamp Asia, Bali is a couple of hours away as a flight.
Nice. I love it. I don't know if you watched the Seb one, but he talked about being 13 years in Harry Potter. That just sets a tone of like, he has been doing this for a long time. And that's just something that's endearing, you know.
It's funny because my story is quite similar. The 90s generation, I was one of the people who was a gamer. Very often I would quit school and go into an internet cafe and then play games with my friends. Number one game back in the days was Counter-Strike.
Oh, okay.
When I was 12 years old, I was playing Counter-Strike with my friends. Fast forward a couple of years, we became quite competitive. So we used to attend tournaments, both national and international. So we thought at 15 years old, we thought, okay, now the team needs to have presence. So we need to build a website. And for unknown reasons to this day, all of my teammates chose me to take this task. And at 15 years old, I had to figure out, how do you create a website? What is a domain name servers, like all these things. And back then, it was a very different world. No AI, no automation, not many guides online, and also not many hosting companies that could help you. So I did a little bit of a research. I remember my father had a friend who was doing some IT work. He asked him, then he came back to me and he said, "Have you tried this software called WordPress? It's brand new. You should give it a try." I think, if I'm not mistaken, back then it was a version 2.1 or 2.2.
We came on the same time. 2.0-ish in that realm, whatever the
Yeah,
version was, same. Those were great days.
yeah, great days. And WordPress was very white back then.
Uh-huh.
The dashboard was very white. So anyway, that was my first attempt. I built the website. It was bad, but it was working. And then at the same time, we needed a Q&A website for questions for the quote unquote press back then. So I had to build a forum, which was in PHP BB, also a very popular CMS back then.
Yeah.
I think it still is, but not one of the good ones anymore. That's how I ended up doing a little bit of a hobby web hosting and WordPress and cPanel stuff. But the most exciting thing from this whole story is, as I didn't know how to build all these things, and I didn't know that you have to buy a domain name and you have to register and you have to use the name service. um, I used GoDaddy. And GoDaddy was very exciting because it's an international company, a brand awareness. And I remember I didn't know how to change the name service of the domain name that I just bought. And I sent them an email. And 2 days later, they responded to my email and they fixed my issue. And when I was 15 years old, I thought to myself, wow, this is amazing. One day I want to become like them.
What a great start.
And a little bit of history for me. So I did end up working for GoDaddy in 2016. And it was a very emotional moment. But back then, when I thought to myself, okay, this is what I want to do in my future.
I love that story because the origin story is about how most of us have gotten in tech, and especially as you all lead a really big organization doing some really big things, it's so compelling and it's connective. We can all kind of think back to that first website, but the fact that yours was a part of gaming and you kind of got it thrown in, it's like that was pretty serendipitous, especially knowing some of your career since then,
Yeah,
leading up to now.
obviously, a part of this whole story was me skipping school, and my mom was not very happy.
I often say, and I'm curious what your thoughts on this, some of the best developers I've worked with were often in their parents' basement, breaking stuff, probably doing stuff they shouldn't necessarily, not, too nefarious, but just breaking things. And then that tinkering thing kind of turns into this passion that lasts throughout a career. And that's your
Absolutely.
story.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And the word passion is so important and so underrated. You may become a developer in your career, and you may like it or not. You may enjoy it or not, but there's only a level of expertise you'll get. And in order for you to go beyond that level, you need to be passionate about it. You need to spend time. You need to, and this is something I say very often to my people. When you wake up in the morning, you need to be passionate about what you do. Otherwise, you end up a level which, doing the jump above that level is going to be very difficult for you, for various reasons, whether those reasons are psychological, whether those reasons are motivational. We live in a very fast-paced world right now, especially with social media and everything that's happening in the news and all the information. We are overloaded by information,
Yes.
and not having a passion about a specific topic and a specific thing you do in your life, is very difficult to do the jump.
Well, especially because tech in particular changes so fast.
Yeah,
When I started in my journey, the iPhone had just come out, and in 2 years, it revolutionized the world. You know, and tech just goes like this, and then we have things like AI, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going straight up. Like it just changes so fast. So you got to have some passion, and go, oh, this is so neat because you're so much on the cutting edge. Like when you were doing that back then with as a 15-year-old using WordPress, I remember seeing that screen too and going, this is great. I don't have to hand code my copyright year in the footer or whatever, those type of things. But it was magical.
Yeah. And wait to see what's going to happen once the quantum computers go out. I
Oof.
think this is probably going to be the biggest breakthrough since the microchips.
Wow. And we're due for that. I mean, as tech, you're just like, how can it get even more or better? And you're like, you just enter quantum computing. You're like, okay, next level. I have young children, so that's the world they're a part of. Is where mine was. Oh, this feels slow to them.
Completely next level. Yeah, I'm very excited for the future. Obviously, scared at the same time. Also excited.
That's so honest because I think we can have both, and I'm the same. You just said it exactly for me. Scared and excited. Like, wow, what had Chat GPT, for instance, done in my personal and professional life? It's helped me so much. It's my second brain sometimes. And but you also go, it's going so fast, it's so disruptive. You know, what does it look like?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Obviously, the AI models are great. They help me on a daily basis. I use them for a lot of my projects. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's too good to be true, and every person with a logical thinking may think, okay, this is great, but where does this go? We don't know. How is it going to be used in the future? We don't know.
You want really good support, and I've heard some of the agency owners, for instance, say like, I don't want to just hit the chat. I don't want to hit just an L1 particularly, but there's a perception that no, I need a human that actually knows on the other side, someone that Panos has trained to understand WordPress, to understand the technical stuff. But
Especially for agencies, the only way we can support an agency is we need to have technical expertise, we need to have the human touch, we need to have the personal approach. This is the only way we as a company can win an agency. Um, how do I say this? How do I know this? I've been on both sides. I've been running an agency myself. I've been running a web hosting business myself. I know what I needed when I had the agency. So a few years back, me and Seb, we had a project called Fix.net that still exists, by the way, and it's a part of WordPress Group. But a few years ago, we would run this project ourselves. And on Fix.net, we would support small web hosting or designer agencies who build websites and then they build them and then they don't know what to do with them, right? So the only way we could support them and they support us is, of course, technical expertise, is deep level knowledge of how things work, both on WordPress and on the web hosting side of things, and personal touch. Like there's no automated way that this could work. Even if I would be extremely optimistic about AI or how things can be automated in the future, I don't see a way of this working in any other way.
I love that you and Seb have this experience in our leadership team, particularly with on the web. You've started and ran hosting companies, but the Fix.net is so interesting to me because I would say I love CEOs that are technical in our hosting or C-suite that are technical in their background because it's not just, oh, I just see money. It's care too. It's passion, as you said. But this other one, what's so compelling, especially for WordPress agencies, you all know WordPress. Like you're not just saying, oh, I know of WordPress. No, when you have an agency like that called Fix.net, you're tackling big problems in WordPress. You're native to WordPress. Your first website, WordPress. Would you tell me more about that experience related to WordPress? And also, I think you've been to WordCamps and maybe spoken at WordCamps, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with WordPress too.
Oh yeah, it's so many over the years. So yeah, as I said, my career started as a hobby, doing stuff for when I was 15 with WordPress. Then fast forward, obviously I did focus on school. 17, 18 years old, I
Good for
graduated.
you. Make mama proud.
And then when I was 20 years old, so between 18 and 20 years old, I would do web hosting and a little bit of a freelance WordPress design for my friends and online. Um, yeah, so then 21 years old is when I met Seb. And when Seb said, okay, we need help to set up a new office, this operation, he was running a company back then called TSO Host. And I joined him in building this new operation that was in Bulgaria back then, 2012. And it was a very improvising thing. So there was a hosting business supporting customers. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what we should do. We don't know what the demand is. So we sat down, opened most of the high-end customers of the company. We saw 90% of them were doing WordPress. So I knew I had to be expert in WordPress, how it works, both from an optimization standpoint. How do you make a WordPress website faster, both on the coding and on the server side of things.
Tell me a little bit, like as you're doing that for other people now, there's things a part of WordPress. Can you remember some of those experiences that stuck out to you when, I mean, you're solving technical problems with that, obviously helping maintain all that, but also I know you were fixing issues. You have any stories from that you'd share?
I can refer again to the Fix.net project. So we, in the very early days of Fix.net, it was pretty much me and Seb setting up the business, but also running support and fixing websites ourselves. I remember I would spend my Saturday night cleaning hacked WordPress sites. Obviously, one of the downsides of WordPress is that it's getting hacked quite easily. So I would spend, and of course, security was one of the biggest products of Fix.net. So we would sell a lot of them, and I would clean a lot of hacked WordPress websites. But what I remember very clearly, we had a very big customer who is a bespoke WordPress website selling sweepstakes tickets, and that person was an influencer in the UK. So what happened was that person would have a campaign running. They would upload a YouTube video, and every time a YouTube video would be uploaded, there would be an influx of 20 to 25 million hits, traffic on the website. And that website, of course, would go down every single time. The person tried various different solutions, various different developers or web hosting businesses, and he couldn't figure it out. So he came to us and he said, okay, you guys are my last resort. Please help me figure out how to host a website, how to not spend $50,000 a month on crazy cloud solutions, and at the same time, make sure my website is up, can handle the traffic spikes, and also be secure. So that was when I really did a deep dive on very technical understanding of how the WordPress database works, how do you cache it, all the relations, the indexes, the foreign keys and primary keys, how does my InnoDB works. So very complicated, deep down understanding of how you can optimize the website, both on the server and also on the coding side of things, right? I spend a lot of time with his developer, giving him advice on how to rewrite his PHP code. By the way, side note, when I first met Seb, he told me, you need to teach yourself PHP. I'm like, how difficult can PHP be, right? So I've never done coding in my life. So I said, okay, let's give it a try. We sat down a weekend together, went some crash courses, and then I could write PHP.
That's great.
Fast forward. Side note again, I'm not a developer. I just have a basic understanding of how PHP works, enough to be able to troubleshoot and rewrite some of the code.
That's the beauty of WordPress and PHP, though. It's accessible too. And I never pretend, but I could Google and find the code snippet I needed to put the excerpt in, and I could copy and paste really well. I think you're a little bit more advanced than me, but that's the beauty of the web, the open web and open source is, oh, okay, I'll start. And then, wow. And there's so many resources out there too, that probably helped along the way, like me, you know.
Yeah. So what happened with this customer was, after a couple of months of troubleshooting and rewriting his code and rewriting the database and the whole solution of hosting, we were able to keep his website up and running he grew from 25 million to about 100 million hits. So
Wow.
crazy traffic. A very very big website. Obviously, I can't say who that is for confidentiality purposes, but a very high end influencer in the UK who is very happy hosting with us.
All right, everybody, if you're taking some notes like I am, I'm just hearing that my COO, the one responsible for the largest part of our organization and care and support, has actual WordPress experience.
Yeah.
And not just like mine, where I'm like, oh, I'm trying to think if I've ever had a site that had that many hits, but also deep experience with all this, leading our company. That's what I wanted to share some of these stories, Panos, because I didn't know these things. I knew there was experience there, but to show that depth of it, it means when you all make decisions, you have an understanding when you're talking about security and you're talking about that level of WordPress. And I know you've got way more experience outside of WordPress too, but that's depth of knowledge. That's understanding. You're not just looking at a a profit and loss statement. You're thinking you have a depth of understanding of what our customers are actually trying to do. So thank you for that story.
No problem. And I have to say here, obviously people don't know much about World Host Group, but I get asked a lot why World Host Group, and I think the answer to this is me, Seb, and Dom, the three of us, we've been working together for 12, 13, 14 plus years, and we complete each other in a very unique way. So obviously Seb is a visionary. He's a strategist. He's the best person to lead a company. Then I complete in a way where I can execute his vision. And then Dom is a genius when it comes to servers and infrastructure and everything happening in a hosting business. And again, to go back to the WordPress optimization things, right? So for our technical folks watching this, one of the ways you do caching on a WordPress website is Redis, so object caching. And optimizing a Redis instance is extremely complicated, and you have to find a balance between memory usage and key rotation and the values. So obviously, Dom would be the one who can jump and say do ABC, and things would work, and things can just work. How much RAM to put on the server, how to index the databases. So it's a very good collaboration between the three of us, and we definitely complete each other in a great unique way.
Oh, thank you for that. And that I haven't met Dom yet, but he's next on my list for one of these conversations, to show the depth. You all have been around for well over a decade, and then to see how you all fit together. It makes sense from what I've seen and heard. That's a great team to have together, and you always want a genius in your back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, there is a lot of other people involved, and the other highlight of which I am extremely proud for my teams is a lot of my senior leadership and a lot of the people that I have on my teams have been with me for 10 plus years. Especially in the Bulgarian office, I have people like Christine, I have people like Daniel, who I really rely on them on a daily basis. And for me, it's an honor to know that these people trust me and I trust them, and the respect is mutual. And we work together for so many years, and it's a mutual relationship that drives this company.
That's that's so awesome of you to share that, because it is leadership isn't a solo sport, is it? It's a team sport, and to know you have a great team that have been together, you all from Seb and Dom all the way to your team too, that know each other, know how you operate. You're able to go quicker and better. So you were talking about World Host Group, and I'm interested in what's so compelling about World Host Group's plan, strategy, and vision to you. We want to become the most trusted brand in hosting. And when I heard Seb say that for the first time, I said, that I want to be a part of that, because when you think about it, brand makes a promise. And when we say, you know what we're going to do? Trust. What higher bar could you have? But I'm curious to you, what's compelling about it all for you?
That's a good question. So I'm going to change the question slightly, and I don't want to answer what's compelling. I want to answer what is trust. So why do we call ourselves the world's? We want to become the world's most trusted company. So for me, trust is transparency. Um, in every single hosting business, one of the biggest things out there is customer care, right? I want our customer care to be transparent. No company is perfect. There will always be mistakes done. We make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. No one is perfect, right? And for me, it's important to own your mistakes and to be transparent about them. Did we just have an outage in XYZ data center? It's okay. Admit it, do what's good and do what's right and move on. Be honest to your customers, tell them the truth, explain to them what happened, detailed RFO, minute to minute explanation what happened, look after them, compensation, whatever that is. But honesty and transparency for me is number one. That's how we can become trusted, and that's how we can achieve our goal.
I love that because we're well aware. We've been in the space long enough that you go, there's hacks that don't get disclosed, or there's not necessarily in hosting, but overall in software and things, there's hacks that don't get disclosed. There's things that happen that they're like, nope, let's keep this under wraps. It's going to hit this many people. And then you're like, no, 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 we need to get out and do the opposite.
Yeah, and there's so many other things that happen in the background to achieve the trust that sometimes people don't realize, they don't see things like customer communication. We capture a payment. Do we tell the customer? Auto renewals, credit card charges. When we save a credit card on a subscription service, are we transparent about all these things? There's so much happening in the background that we are reviewing right now, and we want to make sure that gives trust to the customers. But as I said, ultimately is transparency about everything.
Yeah, that's pretty radical because it feels embarrassing. I've had those mistakes. I've had to disclose things publicly about we got hacked in 2015, my former company, and it's not a good feeling, but it is the right thing, and I that does earn trust. When you're like you're not trying to hide something, push it down, bury it. You're like, no, 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 it happened. And by the way, it does happen. You just don't hear it because we're being honest with you about it. I think those actions speak so loud.
Yeah, fully agree. We want to be transparent. Knock wood, we're not going to get hacked.
Right.
And we as a business, we do we invest a lot in security, both in the systems we use and in ISO compliances, and even to our employees. How do we give access to our employees? Device management, all these things that go into us being a secure company. We invest a lot of time. We have a person in the company called Thomas, who is our chief engineer. He's brilliant, and he's the one leading all those efforts. We just got ISO 27001 certification, which was a huge win for us, and it's an effort in us becoming a super secure company. Again, as I said before, mistakes happen, and we just need to be honest about them, communicate them, own them, and do the right thing.
You said something a little bit ago, and you really answered part of the question, but I want to dive into this. You said support is great people that know what they're doing, but I don't want to say your words. I want to ask it in this way. From your experiences as you lead our care team at World Host Group, A2 Hosting, and what do you think about what is good support for customers?
So ultimately, the customer who contacts us, they have an issue and they want the issue to be fixed, and they want the issue to be fixed in a quick manner, right? Whether that's a live chat or a phone call or a ticket, it doesn't really matter. End of the day, the ultimate goal is for the issue to be fixed. So our job is to be efficient, be structured, show confidence to the customers. We know what we do, and solve the issue. So for me, it's important to have a very structured way of how things work. Say a live chat is customer. So going back, customers want to talk to humans. They don't want to they don't want to talk to bots. They don't want to talk to systems. They want personalized approach, and they want a fast approach. Now, whether we can utilize AI for some of the super basic stuff like how do I pay my invoice, maybe in the future it's something we would explore. But ultimately, customer needs a human approach. They need issue to be solved, and they need a quick resolution. Our support needs to be structured, needs to be educated enough to be able to solve issues. And if it doesn't, it's okay, as long as we are transparent and we show confidence, and we own the issues ourselves, and we know how to escalate internally, and we know how to fix things internally, even if it takes a little bit longer. That's okay. Transparency is important. So I would rather my level one basic support agents, I would rather them being honest to customers and say, hey, listen, I understand you have this issue. Let me find someone who can fix this for you. It may take a couple of hours. It may take 6 to 7 hours. I have to get advice from my supervisor or whatever that is, but your issue will be fixed. So as long as we own the issue and we know where to escalate and we know how to fix this issue, I think that's going to make us the world's most hosted company.
You used a great word there, and I've heard Seb and others, and it resonates with our team at A2 Hosting, which is own the problem. Like, we own it for the customer. You don't have to worry. It means there's a bunch of hallmarks in there you just said, which is communication. Hey, I'm doing this, I'll get back. I'm doing this, I'll get back. I'm doing this, I got this question back. And then that part I think is huge. As we're hit some issue, we've already done some of our research. We've Googled around. We went to YouTube. We can't fix it. Now we're like, I gotta get our help. And we come over to World Host Group and A2 Hosting. They've already done it. Okay, now it's something I don't have control of it. And that feeling of trust and knowing, like, okay, they're communicating back. They're working to own I have just given it to someone that has truly owned it. But I'm curious what owning means to you. How does that mean, for your team, and how we show up for our customers?
So ownership, right? This is something I talk with my teams a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not an easy thing to achieve, and it's not an easy thing to teach people. So what I tell them is, imagine we have an issue in the company. You don't have to be the one who fixes it. You don't have to worry about fixing it yourself. You don't have to know how to fix it. You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress about it. All we need to do is we need to drive this issue. We need to own this issue. We need to go to the person who's relevant. We need to ask for help. We need to keep that issue, hold it to ourselves, hold it together to us, and drive it. So ownership doesn't mean we have to fix it ourselves. We just have to drive it. So say, for example, we have a very good example that sometimes happens, right? So say a2hosting.com, the website, there is a glitch on the website. There is a broken button. You click the button and it goes into a 404 page. Customer comes on live chat, reports this issue, then says, hey guys, you have a broken link on the website. You need to fix it. Then the level one agent, obviously it wouldn't be their responsibility to fix the issue, but they have to own the issue. So a natural way would be, okay, I now have to own the issue. I have to find someone who can fix it. So I can go to my supervisor. I can ask my supervisor, hey, I have this issue. It's been reported. Let's work together to find a solution, right? Then the supervisor will be, oh yeah, great. Let's talk to the development teams or to whoever is responsible for the website. Then that person still owning the issue would then go to the relevant team, try to quote unquote project manage it a little bit, but own it. So they would talk to the relevant teams, they would drive the issue, they would be there while the issue is fixed. And then they would come back eventually to the customer, and they would say, okay, I found it. I was able to come to find a solution for you. The issue is now fixed. Again, we own it. We are honest and transparent.
I love that, because I've, internally at A2 for the last year or so, very much ownership culture. But your nuance there, which is, okay, that person that might take the initial issue owns the issue, not going to let it go for the customer. That's back to the customer. But you introduced a new word, which I love, which is, then there's someone that drives to the problem to fix the issue. And that's a really great nuance. For how we do things. And you think to yourself, that makes sense. That person can't drive the issue, but needs to own the problem for the customer back and help get to resolution.
Yeah.
So great team effort.
Um, and let me segue quickly to a different topic which I wanted to talk about, which is related to this. Um, a lot of people ask me why A2 hosting, like why did we do this investment and this acquisition. um, when we do a lot of M&A work, and we acquire a lot of businesses, and we do a lot of deals together with the team. Of course, an aspect of this deal is the financial, and the numbers need to be right, and all the this side of things. But when we source deals and we talk to owners, and we do the due diligence, a big part of this process is the fit, whether A2 hosting fits. And when I say fit, it means cultural fit, technological fit, people fit. Uh, in general, if it makes sense for us as a business to work with XYZ company. And when we started researching A2 hosting, we saw that people are great. Obviously, Brian is a great entrepreneur, and we saw that Brian is a tech founder, which is pretty much what me, Seb, and Dom are. So we thought, okay, this is amazing. This is definitely something we can work with. Then we saw that one of the biggest values of A2 hosting is extreme ownership, which brings
Extreme
us to the
ownership.
topic we talked about. And extreme ownership is, I think, very underestimated in the business world, especially in the hosting world, but not only. I think globally, extreme ownership is underestimated. It's a game changer, and what separates the mature companies from the immature companies. And when I say mature is, again, being transparent. We own the issue. Everyone makes mistakes. It's okay as long as you own them. You are honest with your customers. You're honest with your people. Not only with your customers, right? We are honest also with our employees and our staff. As long as we are honest and we communicate properly, then it's okay.
That's great. I do believe we have extreme ownership here, and working with our support leads has been really incredible. Knowing like we've got people that really actually care about the work and do own it, and so it's great to know that was one thing that stuck out to you all from this whole acquisition of A2 Hosting.
Yeah.
So, Panos, I'm curious. I want people to hear from you. You're the person. Maybe you don't do the direct hiring, or training, but you're guiding the entire organization. The biggest part of our organization always will be support here. But when you go to think about hiring or finding or recruiting a great support person that just gets it, what stands out to you?
That is a great question. And most of the offices we operate in World Host Group, I it's funny. It's funny thinking about it. So me and Seb, both of us, we built them from zero. So the latest office we opened was in Manila, in the Philippines. And for example, imagine you sign a new office lease, and then the office is empty. There's only carpet and the walls and nothing else inside. Then I would go to IKEA. I would buy some desks. I would deliver them. I would assemble them, put them in the office. Then I would have to find an internet solution. I would set up the fiber, do the Wi-Fi, whatever, all the cabling. But and then of course you have to hire people, right? So there is a word that's called the aptitude, which is a combination of attitude and ability at the same time. This is exactly what we look for in people. And I consider ourselves a huge startup still. So the people which we hired as a first batch in all the offices, so the first batch in Indonesia, the first batch of people in Manila, the first batch of people in Bulgaria, were a part of setting up the office itself. So we hired 10 people in Manila. They helped me move the desks, move the chairs, set up the fiber, do all this thing. And that's great because it makes them feel involved. It makes them feel special. It makes them feel part of the bigger idea of doing things together. If people just come into a ready to go office and they just open the laptop and start working, it's just a corporate job. Whereas I want them to feel involved. I want them to feel special, and feel that the company is a part of their lives, and they own a small chunk of the company. Same thing for Bali. We moved. Obviously, the team in Bali is quite big. It's about 130 people right now. We went through a few offices. The latest office was a big one, and the move was actually big. We had about 50 people being involved in the move and 50 people setting up. It was a funny image. You'll see 50 people doing cabling, doing carpet work, doing office desk moves, setting up the fiber. We have a second floor upstairs with ping pong tables and PlayStation. So everyone together coming up as a team, building up those offices. But again, going back to the aptitude is not a typical 9 to 5 job where you come and support customers and then go home. You feel involved. You feel special. You feel a part of this thing. But now to explain what the aptitude is. So aptitude would be the technical understanding and the ability to go above and beyond for the customers, both at the same time. So you can have the ability to troubleshoot a broken website, but then you don't have the emotional empathy and the sympathy to the customer, which is not a good combination to have. Or you can have the greatest empathy for the customer, but then you don't know how to fix issues. We look for the combination of both, and that's what differentiates us. We have people who have the aptitude. They can talk to customers and they can fix issues, and they can solve on the spot.
When you said aptitude, I was like, I like that. It is a blend of both. It's the human emotional side, which you talked about, empathy and care. While I know World Host Group actually calls our support side care, I believe. And then the other side is the ability to go own the issue, to know when it's time to find the driver for the issue and to communicate back. That's imperative.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a PlayStation, I heard, at Manila. Are you still a gamer? What games?
Well, nowadays I don't have much free time.
Yes.
But the guys in the office, they enjoy the PlayStation. And another funny story is I've put my personal credit card in the PlayStation store, and I said the guys, you can play whatever game you want. It's okay. And every couple of days, I see on my email, boom, GameBot, boom, GameBot. So people just try new games.
That's awesome. We're, a culture where you can enjoy coming to work too. You're doing fulfilling work, helping people, caring about people, driving problems, owning problems, and then, on a break, and go up and put Fortnite on Panos's card. By the way, my son over the summer, he was like, "Hey, let's learn." He got a PlayStation. He saved up his money and he started playing Fortnite. He's like, "Dad, play it." And I go, "Mine was like either a joystick with a button, or the basic Super Nintendo." But I've learned, so I'm gonna have to ping our Bali team and say, if you play Fortnite, let's friend and go squad up.
Absolutely, we should do a company tournament.
That'd be awesome. I can't say I'm going to place very high, Panos, but I'd be on your team. Okay, so we've talked a lot. We've talked about the interesting parts of your past that formulate how you lead. Here at World Host Group and A2 Hosting, we've talked a lot about support. I'm curious now, anything else I missed that you want to talk about?
Leading a company and being a leadership and doing all these things which we are trying to do is so these are the things I've learned through my career. Is you cannot do things on your own. You need to have good partners and good people you can rely on. And I think that's why I'm extremely thankful for working with Seb and Dom and everyone else in the company who is making the difference. Other things I've learned through my career is that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you own them. Having people you can rely and you can trust is the utmost important. I'm super thankful for the people below me and the people that I can trust to do some of the work for me. I'm super thankful for people like Christine and Daniel, as I said before, who are leading my customer care teams. And they have been doing customer care in web hosting for 10 plus years. They know everything in and out. I can say, for example, okay, we have a new project coming. So a good example of this is A2 Hosting as a business runs a level 3 customer care team, which is something we don't have as a company. And when I first saw it, I was like, wow, it's amazing. I want us to do this. I want us to create a level 3 team. So I went to Daniel, who is one of my most trusted people in the company, and I said, Danny, this is what A2 Hosting does. I want you to please talk to the people, understand what they do, and I want us to bring this on board, and I want us to start doing level 3 support. And 3 days later, Danny came to me with a plan, and now we have a plan on executing level 3 support in Walters Group, and this plan is about to go live on Monday morning.
Will we see you at a WordCamp soon, Panos?
So I was planning to join the WordCamp Asia, which is happening end of the month, but there's a lot of other things happening, so I can't attend.
But I know you've been to WordCamps.
I've been to
and
WordCamps. Yeah,
spoken.
I've been to WordCamps. So we've sponsored WordCamps in the past, primarily with the Fix.net project. I haven't been a speaker myself yet, but I've been offered a couple of times, but I've never took the initiative. I was always wondering what should I talk about? Should I talk about security? Should I talk about leadership? If I talk about leadership, I don't know if people are going to be interested in it. Whereas security, people are probably going to be interested in it, but then I'm not the most qualified person to talk about security. That would be Dom probably. Yeah, I never actually did it.
I see. I think it'll be so compelling to hear you at some point. You know your stuff. Just when you, like you said, the word about aptitude and how you think about support, you've been doing this deeply. You're a really great executor of vision and strategy. And those are compelling as we have big aspirations, goals at World Host Group. And our overall team, I think, is around 700 or 800 people. The biggest part of our organization is we have a big grand goal is going to be bigger and it's going to be under your leadership. And I think that'll be extremely compelling and I love the fact that you saw in A2 something you're like, I want that, I want that across our team. So you're always looking for those things for how to make things better. And it really resonates and will resonate with our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. As as a leader, a part of my job is to, like, with deals like A2 Hosting, is for me to get the best out of both companies and combine them into one, right? So level 3 was absolutely no question something that is exceptional, and we have to learn and we have to do it ourselves, and we have to do it globally in the whole company. But as to what's next for World Host Group, I can say there's a lot of interesting and exciting projects happening. We just signed a deal with WordCamps, so we are about to sponsor globally all the WordCamps in the world, starting with WordCamp Asia happening end of the month. I know Aaron is going to represent us, and I know Seb is going to be there. I am not going to be there, unfortunately, because I have other projects happening at the same time. But World Host Group is exciting. There will be a lot of interesting news coming soon, so watch this space. I believe World Host Group is going to be one of the leaders in the industry. At the moment, the company is about 780 people. I wouldn't be surprised if that number doubles in a couple of years' time with all the expansion and the growth happening. But ultimately, Cory, I am very happy that we are a combination of a lot of excited individuals coming together to form this company. And end of the day, the people make this company. So as long as we trust our people and as long as we look after our people and we empower them and we embrace them, the company will be successful.
Absolutely. And if you all were listening, Panos just announced something really great. World Host Group, A2 Hosting, has become a global WordCamp sponsor. It's our contribution, part of our contribution back to the WordPress community that's been so great that we know has built our businesses. And Panos, I'm so glad you got to announce that today. That's exciting news.
Perfect.
Panos, thank you so much for your time today, and thanks for everyone listening in. We'll be having Panos on more and more because his role and everything touches so many of you. Often when I hear about what really makes a good hosting product and company, it's for sure trust. But trust is okay. Show up and support. It's the number one thing I hear. So I wanted to get Panos on and let you hear from him directly how he thinks about how he leads our customer care, support side of our business, which is so foundational and important. So thanks so much, Panos, for being on today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Cory.